marks the start of the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, which is often known as the Day of Atonement. Which brings up a sort of interesting question. Just what is atonement anyway? I have seen some people write it off as atonement, as at-one-ment, meaning that it has to do with coming into oneness, wholeness with yourself and with the holy, which is nice, but it kind of skips something important. Atonement, according to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, is reparation for an offense or injury. Atonement is about paying back, about trying to fix what you have broken. It's the necessary first step of forgiveness. Now, the dictionary also helpfully notes that in a Christian context, atonement refers to the reconciliation of God and humankind through the sacrificial death of Jesus Christ. In other words, the death of Jesus pays God back, makes reparations for the sins of all humankind. But that's not how atonement works in a Jewish sense, and it's not a theology that most Unitarian Universalists embrace either. Atonement, when it comes to Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, is something you do yourself. It's personal. You personally are expected to take the 10 days that come between Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and Yom Kippur to check in with all of your friends and family and see if you have done anything to hurt or offend them. And if you have, it is up to you to atone, to do what you can to make it right, or at the very least, to apologize. Then, on Yom Kippur itself, the whole community goes to the synagogue and atones, apologizes to God. It is said that during those 10 days of turning between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the book of life is open. But come the end of Yom Kippur, the book is closed, and your fate for the year to come is sealed. So if you want to have a good year, it would be wise to atone to your friends and neighbors and to God, thereby earning yourself a spot in the book of life. In Jewish theology, and that of most UUs, you need to do the work of making things right under your own steam. But here's the interesting part. The litany of atonement that a Jewish congregation recites on Yom Kippur is a long list of things that we have done and thus apologize for altogether. And it doesn't matter whether you personally have done any particular piece of the long list of errors. The whole community atones as one. You take care of your own business before Yom Kippur arrives, but when it comes to apologizing to God, the community takes responsibility as a whole. It might seem a bit unfair to be asked to apologize for things that you haven't done, but I have to say that this notion of a whole community ritual of atonement feels deeply right to me. Think about it. Racism, for instance, is a grave wrong that belongs to a community as a whole. You can't really blame any given white person for the unequal privileges that their race grants them. No single white person asked to live in a system that gives them unfair advantages in education, employment, housing, the justice system, and much more. And no single white person can really choose to give those unfair advantages back. It takes the whole community, the whole system, recognizing the long history and continuing practice of injustice in order to make reparations and move towards lasting change. And no one of us can take the blame for the terrible human cost to our environment. We are all just going about our business, doing what we need to do, shaping the world to our comfort and convenience as best we can. I certainly hope that each of us is making conscious choices to minimize the damage to the planet caused by our living on it, but each life carries a cost, and all of us together are doing tremendous damage to the earth and its creatures. We need to find a way to atone as a community, as neighborhoods and countries, as the human race, to make reparations so that there is room for all beings to flourish. Each of us needs to take responsibility for our own actions, to atone for the things that we have broken, the damage that we have done. But something more is also required. Together, as human communities, we need to hold up the ways we participate in large systems of brokenness that privilege a few at the cost of many, so that we can begin to find ways to atone, to make reparations, to make things whole once again. Yes, we are called to at-one-ment, but that isn't just a nice feeling of spiritual connection. Although there is certainly a place for that as well. Yom Kippur calls us to the difficult, ongoing work of recognizing that if we are all one human family, one precious planet, then we must all take responsibility for rebuilding the whole. May we embrace that work with courage, so that all may be inscribed in the book of life.
because we're doing a liturgy for Yom Kippur, the songs we sing will be done during this liturgy. The sound of the ram's horn is sharp. It's like no other sound. It pierces the armor of the heart. Now, Kristen will put up, when the congregation's turn to respond, as I say, she'll have them up on the board for you to say. Go ahead.
May my heart and mind be open to what this time may ask of me. May I be prepared to speak my mind and with my heart.
All this season, the sound of the shofar echoes as it does here. Where it is heard in the heart, it calls a quiet moment. Where it calls a quiet moment from our busy day. When it is heard in the mind, it causes us to pay attention. Where it is heard in the spirit, it beseeches us to return to ourselves. Slow down, turn inward, become at one with ourselves. The spirit of the time is woven about two books, the Torah and the legendary Book of Life. According to the legend on Rosh Hashanah, the new year, the angel of life writes each of our destinies for the year to come. During the 10 days following, the days of awe, the Book of Life is kept open. If we then merely try to understand how to take the Torah's insights with us into the everyday world, the angel of life must reconsider what has been written. By taking thought, we have made changes that will alter the future. At the sound of the shofar on the day of Yom Kippur, says the legend, the Book of Life for the year to come is sealed. All is written.
On Rosh Hashanah, we are called to review how we have lived our lives in the year past.
All vows, all promises we have made to ourselves in this last year, all commitments to unswerving thought, opinion, and behavior are now canceled, nullified, and made not. Now we are free to re-examine all of our motivations and desires, and all the roads we have chosen to walk without critique, for our all vows, all promises we have made to ourselves. All commitments to unswerving thought or opinion are now canceled, nullified, and made not.
On Rosh Hashanah, we are called to review how we have lived our lives in the year past.
We have been given freedom to choose to be human beings, even in this world where it often seems that no one behaves as a human being. On the days between, the spirit of this time calls us to look at ourselves from a different place, from the usual vantage point, to see ourselves without the trappings which may clutter our lives and ways, to see ourselves as we truly are. It is awesome to look clearly at the real moment. Thus, the days of between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are called the days of awe.
I stand in awe of the universe within me, as I do of the universe around me.
We bless this moment by asking questions asked by Rabbi Hillel.
If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, what am I?
The great Maimonides said that belief in an external image of the divine is idolatry. What we know as holy, we know as an inner force within ourselves. We created outer images of God, of history, to understand ourselves and what is in store for us.
I stand in awe before my own destiny, as I do before the vastness of time.
The starting place is within. While there is yet time before the last shofar blast on Yom Kippur, before the angel seals the Book of Life, the sages tell us that we have the means to change our destinies. And there are different parts of the liturgy. This is the Tashuvah. The starting place is within. The Hebrew word tashuvah means return as well as repentance. Tashuvah implies returning within, to examine the reality of who we are, spiritually as well as intellectually. Returning to your inner reality can give you the power to create the changes you must make for the survival of your true self. Teshuvah asks for self-reflection and for insight. This is the starting place, the only one there is.
I can say, I am to be, if I can say, I am.
Tefillah. The starting place is within. Tefillah means mirror as well as prayer. To pray is to mirror within. To see ourselves as we are, there are powers beyond our beseeching, powers beyond our reach. But we can know surely what is within, what our own loyalties and conscience urge, what good sense and affection bid us to do. This is the starting place, the only one there is.
I can say, I am to be, if I can say, I am.
Tzedakah. The starting place is within. Tzedakah means more than righteousness. It means listening to your deepest intuition of what is right and necessary for you. We know that time moves beyond our control. Things change beyond our control. Yet we can decide how we will change our responses to changes around us. This is the starting place, the only one there is.
Those who change without evaluating are like leaves blown off by the wind. Those who change without choosing are servants to the whim of time. Truth and power abide in us. Thence will come the light to illumine our paths. The lines written in the book of life are the signatures of our year to come.
Kol Nidra. The sages taught that only for transgression against the rules of their God can Yom Kippur atone. For transgressions against the neighbor, Yom Kippur cannot atone unless one seeks reconciliation and goodwill. We resolve to remove from our minds all sentiments of rancor and enmity. In token of that resolve, we perform the rite of Kol Nidra. Let us prepare for the year to come, becoming at one in the silence. What are our assumptions about our place in the world? How are our relationships with others? How are our relationships to family, friends, and enemies? What are the inner silent vows we have sworn which keep us from making the commitments our heart of heart knows would be better, if more difficult? We ask ourselves these questions that we may begin to be at one with ourselves, at one with each other, at one with nature, and at one with the eternal unknown. All vows, bonds, and oaths wherewith we have vowed, sworn, and bound ourselves to take effect from this day of atonement to the next day of atonement, may it come to us for good. All these vows made so as to estrange ourselves from those who have offended us, or to give pain to those who have angered us, they shall be absolved, released, annulled, made void, and of none effect. These are vows, and these only shall not be vows. These are bonds, and these only shall not be bonds. These are oaths, and these only shall not be oaths.
And all the congregation shall be forgiven, and the stranger that resides among them, for all have sinned unwittingly.
Kol Nidra is a rejection of vows, but it is more. It is a practical and honest reminder of our fallible humanity. In our recognition of our own limitations is the source of our own compassion for our neighbors. In our own humility before our humanness lives the source of our connection with all people. That connection is our strength. Kol Nidra, as it is read in the traditional service, takes on a special value. It says this: with the permission of this congregation, we will declare it to be lawful to pray for those who have transgressed.
Who among us has not transgressed? Let it then be lawful for all of us to read together.
And at this time I say, for anybody that I have hurt their feelings, or anybody I have sinned against, or anybody I have hurt, I ask for your forgiveness. And Kristen, I ask for your forgiveness for all the things I've said that have hurt you, or that have made you upset. Following the ancient tradition, let us say,
I hereby forgive whomever has hurt me, whomever has done me harm, whether deliberately or by accident, whether by word or by deed. May no one be punished on my account, as I forgive and pardon those who have done me wrong.
I shall seek out those who
I shall seek out those whom I have harmed and ask them to forgive and pardon me, whether I acted deliberately or by accident, whether by word or by deed. May I not willfully repeat the wrongs I have committed. May justice rule the world, giving joy to the land, happiness to the city, renewed strength and light to the people.
Now let the congregation share of the grain of the earth in the spirit of atonement. Go ahead. For injuries
I may have caused, I ask forgiveness.
We're going to sing 220. Please stand.
Unfortunately, the people singing it on the tape are
220 or 219?
220. They're singing in Hebrew, so as they sing in Hebrew, you can look at the English words to see what it means.
Go ahead, stay seated. Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of the new year, but it is also the day of remembrance, when we remember all that has gone before us to make the world as it is today. Such remembrance is not merely an excursion into the past. The central theme of Rosh Hashanah is the power of memory itself. Memory defies oblivion, breaks the coil of the present, establishes the continuity of the generation, and rescues human life and effort from futility. And it affords the only true resurrection of the dead.
It is good that we have the gift of remembrance. It is good that we wish to transmit our traditions from generation to generation.
Though their tongues be silent, our ancestors speak through ours. We eat the fruit of trees planted by men and women long gone from our midst. The works of men and women of old are recorded in our histories and reflected in our society.
The past lives in our minds, in our spirits, and in our hearts.
We stand with those who have wept, those who now weep, and those who have yet to weep. Let us stand and commemorate those of our loved ones who have died in our world. We call before you the face and the spirit of the dearest of them, as you best know and best love them. Think on the meaning of their presence in your life. Please stand. If you are able. All over the world, people of Yom Kippur stand in honor of the dead. Traditionally, the Kaddish is recited at each service in Aramaic. because once its understanding was considered so important that it was translated into the vernacular of the times. And so we too will read it in our language. I invite you now as we stand together to speak the names of those dear to us who are gone. If you mourn a special friend or family member, call their names. Edward Byrd.
Phyllis Gordon.
Merlin Byrd.
Kathleen Rush.
Andrew Byrd.
Jay Schneider.
John Burton.
Paul Westerman.
Tom and Robin Grace. Kirka.
Evelyn Easterday.
Robert Easton.
For us, the word God means many things and nothing. The ancient people cried out in their pain and sorrow, glorified and sanctified by God's great name in the world which God has created according to the divine will. May God establish the divine realm during your life and during your days, speedily and soon. And say ye,
Amen.
please be seated. For us, the word God means many things and nothing. The ancient people cried out in their pain and sorrow. Let God's great name be blessed forever and to all eternity, blessed, praised, and glorified, exalted and honored, extolled and lauded by the name of the Holy One. Blessed be God, though God be high above all blessings and hymns, praises and words of solace, which are uttered in the world. And say ye,
Amen.
Amen.
may abundant peace and life be sent from heaven. And say ye,
Amen.
the departed, whom we now remember, have entered into the peace of life eternal. They still live on earth in the acts of goodness they perform and in the hearts of those who cherish their memory. May the beauty of their life abide among us as a loving benediction. And say ye,
Amen.
may the Father and Mother of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort the bereaved among us. And say ye,
Amen.
when we memorialize our dead, we reaffirm our common humanity.
Each time I remember a loved one or I mourn the victims of the Holocaust, past and present, I affirm my intention to hold to life, to nourish it, and to protect it.
This world is sustained by the just men and women in it. The light of justice and mercy have been passed on to us. Let us pass that light to our children and to each other and to the peoples of the world. Be this our understanding of our covenant, to be a beacon of justice and mercy. Now, it's just the piano, right?
No, this one, we can sing the first 3 verses. I'm not sure if you know the melody, so I'm going to play it through once, and then you can sing 2:15. Verses 1 through 3.
First, all last,
life is open. In a few days, it will close. Pay heed to the day before the sun sets.
Today
Moves like a line, each day turning like the pages of a book.
Please stand and we'll sing 219.
Oh, 219 is in Hebrew again, sorry. But, so the words are in the book, but the melody and words don't match in English. Let's do it.
We'll do our best.
We'll wing it.
So yeah.
We are grateful. Help us now to transform our gratitude into service. Let our labors add to the store of the world's goodness. Amen. Please be seated. Any announcements?
Neil,